Here for me, I grew a lot socially, but I think every time I wanted to cry, it felt very paralyzing.
It is no coincidence that we learn more when we feel utterly, dumbfoundingly lost. Standing atop the precipice after conquering the year's headlining goal of living a fuller life, I find myself staring into a paradox rather than a long-awaited bliss, a realm of immense happiness enveloped by a bottomless hollow. A state tattooed over my conscious, masking contentment with an undercurrent of overwhelm from my own actions. You see, in pursuit of fullness, brought forth yeses that forged connections and subsequent adventures. Then, as if reaching the state of homeostasis, the connections made became siphoned, drawing in reverse and filling every gap in my mind with thoughts of maintenance. A reflex conditioned by scarcity mindsets and by a greed that longs for friendships, growth, rejuvenation, and love forgotten. The speedy conquest in spring bore a strange likeness to defeat, a reward full yet hollow. A paradoxical fullness I had set out to achieve, now digging beneath the ground I stand on, rooting me down just as autumn comes around. I'm certain you too are well aware that a practice autonomy of pretense is a corrosive facade that only preserves the ego rather than to honor the efforts I've made in the past 100 days. With the last 100 left on the calendar, this may well be the final chance to dismantle this disorienting paradox before the overwhelm undoes it all.
It's like last year I didn't really have a social life. And I wanted it this year. And I got it. And then, since April, because by the time I got to April, I was like, I'm pretty happy with who I'm connected with. But then it's like that kept growing. And I was like, wait, make it stop. And it wouldn't stop. Or I didn't know how to make it stop. And it was very...
Fulfillment stems from knowing what enough feels like. But when we fix our sights on the shifting mirage of more, we tether ourselves to an endless race across a horizon that keeps retreating. Fear laced up my shoes before I even had the chance to preview the trail. Actions began to outweigh inaction without the deeper awareness of what truly awaited at the summit. I didn't realize how often we trade presence for progress. We've all fallen into the cycle, measuring ourselves by external progress without first refining the inner pillars that ground us. Well, it never works, because progress slips from view and the motion never stops when you keep raising the bar. I know, because I too have been 18, chasing perfection, 22, chasing approval, 24, chasing purpose, and now swimming in circles, lost in the pursuit of bettering myself. And yet, that turned out to be the greatest blessing of this entire journey. Because feeling lost is a sign that you are present. And being present means stepping into discomfort, embracing uncertainty, and recognizing that transformation always feels like you're off track until it completes. My handbook for fulfillment had been penned by conventional wisdom and outdated values. But this revelation led to an intersection I hadn't considered, showing me a third way out of this puzzling predicament. The answer wasn't in doing more. It was buried beneath the layers, a vulnerable whisper, a silenced outcry to be honest with myself, my limitations, my relationship, and the commitments I clung to under self-imposed obligations. Honesty became my third way out. I realized that a good friend is one who takes care of themselves first. A good year is built on intentional days, and a good life is lived through actions rooted in an identity true to yourself. What we've been searching for all along weren't the bricks, but the pebbles. Forget the meticulous blueprints. Instead, focus on the minutes that shape each day, the mindful mornings that ground you, the restful evenings meant to reflect and recalibrate. Lay the pebbles of intention daily and let their winding path lead you exactly where you're meant to be. Trust me, if the end mattered that much, we'd glorify death. But it is not the end that defines us. It is the moment in between. It always has been. We tend to assume that when problems arise, the resolution takes form in the external, that there's always more that I need to acquire to feel better. Then I finally accepted the realization of the beauty in subtraction, that less is truly more, especially when you're the centerpiece of it all. There's wisdom in stagnation, in detours, in spaces barren, in nights with stars in silence. I had, for the better part of this year, mistaken more with better. The fear of stillness fueling the chase for fullness. But I hope you won't be so quick to move on from the pit stop you may find yourself in. Take it all in, the good and the bad, or perhaps preparation for a journey that isn't ready to reveal itself to you just yet. Trust the process. Listen to your senses, because the wind whispers to those who listen, and the tides will subside when the timing is right. Be still with me, even if it's just for a second. Maybe two, if you're willing. And remember this. If everything is not okay yet, that just means this is not the end. We'll be just fine with love on our side.
I'm sorry. Are you my mom? Julie.
Boy, I have the same problem. Oh, look at you practicing your Korean. I brought you prosperity.
I'm so impressed. Whew. Well, that chapter is closed.